Hey,
Hello.
you know
I'm
what?
t
I was actually on my live. I didn't know how
oh
everybody was over there. So hopefully they're coming over here now.
yeah, cool. I'm Tom from I Got Soul. Good to
Hey,
meet you.
Tom. Good
I
to
don't
meet
think
you.
we haven't ever had a chance to do an in-person interview, I don't think so.
We
Good to
haven't.
no, so
I was
good
just
to
saying in my
yeah,
live how you guys have been supporting me for years. So,
for years. I remember when you first signed to Atlantic, so it's been quite some time. So
yes,
and always happy to support you.
I appreciate
Um,
that.
yeah, definitely. First off, let me say thanks for taking some time. I know you were excited about doing this interview. That makes us happy to,
Yes,
support you. Like that type of stuff makes us happy. So we really appreciate, the love you show us in return.
yes. I was saying just on my live how you guys have been doing interviews with producers that I have like grown up loving and just them
Mm,
talking about like the development of all of our favorite songs.
yeah,
Been really insightful, but also like exciting, like thinking about how you used to buy CDs and open them up and like read the credits. And now we're
yeah.
talking to these
So,
people. So I thought it was dope.
we just love all things about R&B, so we love hearing the producer stories. We're gonna keep it going too. So
Yes.
cool, cool. Just so you know, once this interview's over, we're gonna feature it on the site. We're gonna upload it to our YouTube, so it'll get more exposure. Even
Okay.
if not that many people join tonight, it'll get out. It'll get heard
Okay.
regardless.
That's what's up.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about your history. We'll take it from the beginning, up to date, and we'll talk about the journey you've been through, and you could tell us, I guess, kind of what you've been working on lately. But let's start kind of in the beginning. Reading your story, I know you were signed before you signed to Atlantic. You were signed to Def Jam. Take us back to how you got signed to that deal.
Well, actually, I never officially signed to Def Jam.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I was in the process of doing that. They had like this Def Jam talent show where Shakir Stewart had come to Oakland because he's from Oakland and he wanted to find an artist here. So
Hmm.
I actually didn't believe that it was a real thing because it was something that you had to pay to be in. And I was like, I don't want to do that because why should you have to pay to be blah, 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 blah. And
Right.
so I actually went ahead and did it and ended up winning the contest.
So,
And so the winner was supposed to be able to sign to Def Jam.
mm,
Then around that time is kind of like when he ended up passing away.
right, right.
But it was at that moment where it was like, I'm finally getting a record deal. I'm
Yeah.
about to buy my house. Like I was so excited. And then that was the moment that was almost everything, but then
Mm,
like ended up being, nothing. So I was
gotcha.
back at square one. Yeah.
Wow.
So I
That's
never
unfortunate.
fully got signed to.
Right. And what do you remember about putting out the Electric Rebel Sounds EP back around that time?
That's crazy. Actually, you went back. That
Yeah.
was pretty much like a mixtape I did while I was in college. And
Wow.
I just spent my financial aid and went and
Wow.
created
Really?
this project with me and my friends. They were super supportive and they were in the studio with me every day. And we just wrote these songs. And I just started doing shows around the Bay Area, any show I can get in, clubs, and just
Right.
kind of like worked that project here in my hometown. And that's kind of how I started to develop a name for myself.
That's
Just on some
dope.
straight, like independent, like
Right.
move like a rapper type vibe. Yeah.
I think it's awesome that even though the Def Jam situation didn't work out as you had hoped,
Hmm.
you still persevered. You didn't give up, and you were able to land yourself another record deal, which was when you landed at Atlantic. So, talk about the circumstances that led up to you catching their attention and signing over there.
Yeah. Well, at the time, which I always say, a lot of people weren't getting record deals at that time. And people were telling me, like, you're going to have to move out of the Bay Area to get a record deal. Nobody's coming here to give anybody
Hmm.
any deals. And I just tried to keep moving and not hear that extra noise and just kept doing shows. And a guy named Yancey Richardson, he's from Oakland, but he
Hmm.
ended up moving to Atlanta and he worked with Atlantic and Andre Harrell. And he had hit me like and was like, I think I can get you a record deal. If you come do 30 songs in 30 days, we can get you a record deal. And I'm like, yeah, right. So I
Yeah.
declined it at first. And then after a while, I was like, what do you have to lose? You've done every show here in the Bay Area. You've hit every ceiling. Like, what's the next step? So I went ahead and did it. And in fact, I did 30 songs in 30 days. And then I started to get a lot of offers from different like Epic, Atlantic,
Wow.
all of those like these things that I dreamed about were starting to happen.
Yeah. Mm.
But it was a long journey up until that time.
Yeah.
Just even being able to say, I now have a record deal and I'm moving to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And though I learned so much about being an independent artist here, the grind of it, the focus, the motivation, when I went
Right.
to Atlanta is when I learned a lot about the recording process, how to build my vocals, how the style of writing. And it was
Right.
always crazy because when I was younger, I would always say, I want to sign to LaFace. Like I was obsessed with LaFace Records. So
Yeah.
being in Atlanta and amongst all these people, it was really just like something that I wanted, but I never thought would happen for me.
Right.
And yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I got to give a shout out to another artist from the Bay Area who made it and got signed. That's our boy Netta. Netta Brielle. Adrian Marcel,
Yes.
who also from Oakland, I believe, and we support him heavily as well. So I don't know if you guys have ever had a chance to link up, but super dope.
Well, here's a great story. We were both signed to a production company called L7, and that's the channel that went through Atlantic, and then so we both got signed.
Yeah.
Or were discovered rather like by the same person, which is Yancey.
Oh,
and I
dope.
him calling me before he had came to, I don't know if he remembers this, but he was like, it's this guy named Yancey who wants me to come to Atlanta, and I know you out there with him now. Like, should I do this? And I was like, you should. Like, my life is changing.
Dope.
And the rest is history, like with him as well. So
Dope.
a lot of people don't know that we kind of came through the same channel, but he ended up going to another label.
Yeah. Exactly. So what I remember from being introduced to you, because we work with Atlantic a lot, and then whenever they have new artists, they'll send an introduction, and I remember just hearing your music, and it was refreshing to me. It was like it reminded me of the '90s a bit, because I grew up through the '90s of R&B, so that's what really drew me into it. But it was still fresh and it was still progressive. So talk about the music you were making while you were with Atlantic, starting out over there.
Yeah. When I first went into Atlantic, we had a lot of great music. Those were the songs that actually got me signed, right? And then once we got in there, they started placing me with different producers, and then they got me with Andre ended up leaving and going to Revolt, so then they placed me with an A&R named KP, you're probably familiar with.
Yeah.
Which was also crazy because again, that goes back to the Ushers and the LaFace and this dream I always had of being connected to that label or just that, you know what I mean? So he actually took me under his wing and started placing me with producers that he felt like would mesh with my sound.
Gotcha.
And we ended up getting a lot of great music recorded in that time. But before that, we did that project, Will You Go With Me? That's just on SoundCloud and on YouTube. And now it's just remakes of 90s songs.
Right.
And which was really dope because I got to redo Rain and we were able to add Coco on it.
Yep,
and
I remember that.
People know that I'm really obsessed with like mid 80s to like mid 90s R&B. So for me to be able to redo some of those songs that I grew up on was super dope. And then I always have people hitting me now like, is there some way that I can get that CD Will You Go With Me? Have it on sound. Yeah. And so that was unfortunately the only project that I did put out through Atlantic.
Right. Yeah. I got to ask though, Andre Harrell, did you have a chance to work with him and did you learn anything from him in that short time he was there?
That's a great question. I learned so much from him. He has so many great stories and just insight. And even him telling me things that he said that he told Mary at one point, which everyone knows that I'm obsessed with Mary. Like, it was just really cool. And he would come to some of my sessions and sit through with me and, make sure I was executing. And he was actually the one who walked me into Atlantic and was like, if you don't sign this girl, like you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so he was very instrumental in like the beginning.
It's awesome.
Me. Yeah.
It's amazing. Dope.
Yeah.
So I know things eventually didn't work out at Atlantic and you had to move on again from another label situation. Was it discouraging to have to move on and kind of go your own direction, or?
It was very discouraging. I've just started feeling better in like the last year.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I failed and I had to come back home and come back to my mom's house and not with all the things I wanted to return with, and really had to kind of start from scratch. But what I will say is Empire was really like a special part of that moment for me.
Yeah.
That he really assisted in like creating some plays for me to make money when I
Right.
first got home, and because it was really difficult. Um, and so deciding to put out 580 was just kind of like, you have to do something. You know,
Yeah.
you have this
Yeah.
single that people like, and you need to come with a project that means something. And I was able to get in the studio and finish it at home. And then I just released it here. I always felt like it should have been bigger, you know, but I didn't have enough like promotion or like
Right.
support.
Right.
But here in the Bay Area, people still talk to me about that project, and
That's so.
still feel very connected to it. So
I remember when that one came out, years ago. I Just Want to Be Loved was our favorite record, from us on the site. I remember we picked that one as one of our favorite songs of the year that year. I forget which year it was, but man, that was an awesome project.
I remember that. Thank you. And that was produced by Traxamillion, who's one of my favorite producers here from home.
Hmm.
One of the producers that I can always go to and be able to get music from and it not be a problem.
Right.
But that song came from a moment of like feeling empty inside and feeling like my label doesn't want me.
Right.
Nobody wants me. Am I good? Like, am I
Yeah.
supposed to be doing this? Like, I felt very ugly at that time. And I think that's what inspired that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing song.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, the music definitely should have been bigger than it was. The project, unfortunately, artists don't always get the attention they deserve. That's kind of what we always push for. What we do is really getting those the attention who deserve it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't give up, and you've released more projects since then. I remember when the 880 project came as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that one.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, what's next? What
Hmm.
do I do next? And the theme became, I like to get in my car and drive, and that's where I come with my best ideas. Or when I'm confused, I'll just get on the freeway and go. And I think that was just the time period. That was what the mindset I was in at that time. And so 580 is like a smooth, cool freeway where you can just ride, right? But then
Right.
880 has all these potholes that have been there for years, and it's ridiculous, right? So that was just kind of like I was using that as a like, this is how I, feel. Like I was trying to use that metaphor as a way to like express who I was in the moment, if that
Right.
makes sense. And so 880 kind of came from that. And at that time, my grandmother had passed, and there was a lot of different things going on, and I just felt very ragged. And
Right.
that's kind of like it was like the second half of 580.
Gotcha.
Anybody on here, you guys know, like those freeways, like 880 is a mess, right? So that's kind of like what.
Yeah. Yeah.
David, you late. David's late. He talking about high time. You
That's
late. You are 16 minutes late, sir.
that's my guy though. That's my people right there.
Yeah, love him. He's another that has been like super supportive over the last
Yeah.
couple of years, because when you think about it, like when you are signed to a major label, you do have a lot of overwhelming support.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe when you're not attached to that anymore, then some of these like sites and such kind of disappear.
Yeah.
But there's this other site, R&B Source, David, like there's been certain people that just stick with me no matter what I do. And just as an independent artist, that means so much.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for that, for sure.
I'll tell you what. There's been a lot of artists on labels where we kind of do a favor for the label and post the music for the artist, even though we don't think it's great. You were never one of those, and to the point where once you left the label, we knew we had to still support you just because you create such good music. So
I appreciate that. Truly.
absolutely. And then speaking of which, we love the EP you put out. I think it was last year, EP by Netta. You had the acoustic version on there of I Just Want to Be Loved, and another dope EP, man. Talk about that, putting that one out.
Yeah, that really came from a moment of like, I haven't put out any music in a long time. Right. So let me try to just put something together to give to the people, because people have been asking me for a while. And I would perform I Just Want to Be Loved live all the time. I'd have my guitars, and people would love it so much that I felt like I needed to do a live recording of it and just add it on. Because if you notice, sometimes I'll recycle songs and I'll add to it. And so that was just, again, kind of like, because I come up in the era of like, remixes. We invented the remix. Well, here's this version and that version. So I've kind of stuck to that still.
Right.
So I wanted to give another version of that. And also, I'm a true lover of R&B, R&B soul. I mean, anything that I could feel somebody, I could feel their tone. I could, you know what I mean? Like, so I
Mhm.
felt like I just wanted, I just want to be loved was definitely a song that I could give more on. And so I was like, let me try acoustic.
Right. Awesome. Great work there. And I like that you put out the video for Bay to LA recently. And even though you had released that song years ago, I thought it was cool that you still give that one new life.
Thank you. I've been, you know, when I do shows or I check my analytics and stuff, I always try to pay attention to what people are still listening to. And
Right.
that's a song that people are still listening to. And then when I
Mm.
do shows, I don't perform that song. And people will be like, you didn't do my song. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Like you didn't do that song. And so I just always think about that. And I was like, I always feel like that song is one of the underdog songs of my catalog. And I've heard a lot of songs out in the last couple of years that sound very familiar to it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this song deserves more. And so I just decided to go for it.
Mm. I actually just saw a comment in here earlier that said, you're better than a lot of the artists at labels. I mean, how do you take that, knowing that you're creating such good music, and then there's artists maybe at, not to call anyone out or anything like that, but like at labels who are maybe not making as good of music? How does that affect you?
It affects me deeply because sometimes I have a hard time believing that. It's like I know that within myself. I know I put in the work and I know I work each day to try to be better. But then when I feel like I'm invisible, sometimes this self-doubt starts to kick in.
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, I don't know, just self-doubt starts to kick in sometimes.
Right.
But keep trying to just do the music that I think feels right to me. And
Right.
hopefully something will come of it, or someone will notice, and that'll create an opportunity for me.
Right. Makes sense. I know that is tough. I mean, we don't hear much R&B coming from labels these days. I mean, it's there are pockets of it. But yeah, I don't want to get into any negativity here, but you know.
No, let me be honest with you real quick. Let me say this. Let me tell you what I'm loving about this moment.
Sure.
So the fact that you're doing these lives with a lot of these producers who've created these masterpieces. I heard Brian Michael Cox on here talking about the creation of 8701.
Yeah.
For me to be able to sit down and hear that for free, that means so much to me. Or, you know, they're doing these lives, and we're getting back to the core of like the writers, the producers, like the realness of it. So I'm loving what's happening with music right now, because we are now being forced to pay attention, or I don't know what it is, but it's like we're getting back to like substance right now.
Right.
The last couple of weeks. And for somebody like me who's trying to stay true to what feels right for me, it's just dope.
Yeah.
When you were on here, no, it wasn't you. When
my partner.
He was
my
talking
partner.
About, I was like, now what? Now what happened when y'all recorded what on 87?
Yeah.
That just means so much to me.
So, yeah. I mean, you can see we're just fans of R&B. We're not here to make money, and you know, we just do this because we love it. So I'm glad it shows. You know, we love hearing those stories just as much as you guys. So I mean, so bring us up to date though. What can we expect next? You had the EP out last year. What do you got coming next or planned next?
So, well, I had a goal of trying to shoot a video like every month or every 2 months. That's obviously not happening right now, but I'm going to go back and redo. I had a record on the Netta EP called I Don't Mind that people love still. So I want to do a video for that with my director of lyric. Hopefully when we're back to normal, we can get it done. But that was like something on my vision board, was to start giving people more content, because that's the one thing I always hear is we don't see you enough. You don't do videos anymore. You know, people want to get to know you. Like, we don't know you. Like, you know, I always be like, I don't understand. I'm trying, you know, but I understand that people do need to see. And I think that's kind of why, that's what inspired me going back and doing Bay to LA, because I felt like, for one, it deserved a visual, but also I felt like I could shoot a video that would be able to say, like, this is the kind of music I love, or these are the visuals that I love. You know what I'm saying? So I want to do more of that. Yeah,
that's dope. I mean, you know, definitely got to be out there, and seems like your fans are asking for it. I'm reading these comments, virtual video. They'll take it.
No, I got you. I'm working on something right now, actually.
Yeah, that's dope. I just got one more question for you. So you had the Def Jam situation, which wasn't really a totally situation. You had the Atlantic signing, which didn't work out, unfortunately. If another major label came to you and acknowledged all the great work you've been doing and tried to sign you, would you consider it, or are you at the point where you're just kind of done with labels and know all you need to know and can move forward on your own?
There's this 16-year-old girl in me that I'm gonna always want a record deal.
Right.
Like,
yeah, of course.
I'm gonna always want to go and be at a label and get that machine and get that solid push to get my stuff truly out there, because I do feel like I'm a superstar. I do feel like that's who I've been since I was about 4 years old. And I do feel like I deserve every piece of what that means.
Right.
So if the situation is right, I would love to go back to a label.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
some people are like, what? But I'm like, that it's just something. It's the little girl in me that has always wanted that. I'm always want that, and I'm always going to work toward that. And if it doesn't work, I am now at a place in my life where I'm like, it's cool. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I do still want that.
You can't be that machine. I mean, I talk to a lot of artists and a lot of them are comfortable being independent, but you really can't top having that machine behind you and turning you into a star. It's really hard to do it on your own. So I totally get it.
I've wanted that since I was 5.5, 4. I mean, it's always going to be that way for me.
100%.
I have a question for you though.
All right.
Top 5.
Like,
it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can.
I said you're gonna put me on the spot and ask me that? That's crazy.
I actually hate when people do this to me, so I get to do it to somebody right now. So
Are we talking all time or?
See, these are the questions that I have. Yeah, all time. Or give
Can
me
I just
your top 3.
Can I tell you my personal favorites from my generation of what I grew up on?
Absolutely.
I was a huge fan of the Neptunes. They did a lot of hip hop too, but them and Timbaland, were like my favorite producers of all time. And no matter what they touched, I was in love with.
Okay.
I mean, producers, I gotta go with, Brian Michael Cox, because, he did that J.E. Heartbreak album for Jagged Edge, and that was one of my favorites of all time, with Jermaine Dupri.
That's a good one.
And, but if we're shouting out songwriters, though, I gotta shout out Static Major, rest in peace. He was one of the most epic songwriters of all time, and another one who doesn't get the attention he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Genuine, Aaliyah, so many artists he wrote for. But on the spot, like, on the top of my head, that's
I when people ask me that. I got another one for you. Boom. Confessions or 8701?
Oh, we love to have this discussion. I'm ready for this one.
Let's go.
It's definitely going to be 8701.
I knew I liked you. It's
definitely, without a doubt. Anyone could try to argue in these comments, but
what do you guys think? Confessions or 8701?
My reason.
You're wrong if you say Confessions.
I'll give my reason, but Confessions I just felt like was too long. Like, it had a few skippable tracks that I felt like if they removed those, 8701 front to back, I felt like there was no skips. Confessions I felt like had a few, and that's my reasoning. So, well, what's you might give your? Everyone's saying 8701. I love it. Peer pressure.
I love it. I see one confession. Dave, you're right though. But see, and I feel like 8701, like Confessions doesn't exist without 8701. Like there's no Thriller without Off the Wall. Like that's how I look at it. Like it was 8701 that was like, he about to be a beast. Like You Got It Bad was like, wait, turn that on. What is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like it was you can have good songs, but then you can have a moment. And it was just a moment. Like, I don't know. I'm obsessed. It's my favorite.
Right. I got a question for you now. Since we're putting people on the spot, I'm gonna give you one now.
Okay.
Who is the greatest artist of all time from the Bay Area? From the Bay Area.
No.
Your hometown. From your hometown.
MC Hammer.
Really? Oh wow.
I'm not talking to them right now, and then at 3 a.m, I'll be like, I can't believe I said that. Why didn't I say? But let me tell you why that just popped up in my head right now. Hear me out. because performance, like he was just like a performer. And to me, I don't see enough like performance nowadays. If I could be honest with you real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I love performers. I love a person with a great show, high energy. Like I want to be able to feel you when you're giving me something live. And I feel like I learned a lot of that, like watching him. I still watch like his live shows. Him, Bobby Brown.
Right.
Like I still watch certain artists because I felt like they give you full performance and not just great at one thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But off my head, I have to say, I'm
Well,
so sorry. It's Ipsy Hammer.
the two I had in mind, I thought In Vogue is from the Bay Area, right?
Yes.
I thought of them, and I thought of Tony. I thought they're from. I could be wrong though on where they're from, but
No. You're 100%
okay,
right. They're up there too, by the
okay,
way. They're up there too. I
gotcha.
think just as an artist who appreciates performance, and I study those kinds of artists. Like I still study him. Like I still study Bobby Brown, Janet Jackson, NC Hammer, shit, Usher. Like it's just certain artists that understand like I'm a performing artist. I'm gonna
Hmm.
give you a great record, but then you're gonna feel that great record like when I'm on stage.
Right.
I don't see a lot of that nowadays, if I can be honest.
Yeah. No, you're right
And
about that. Totally right. I
so
saw two.
wait, hold
I
on.
saw
David
two.
just said something. So wait a minute, David. You said you skipped Superstar on Confessions? Am I reading that right?
And someone else said they skipped Simple Things. I don't believe that. Simple
Oh
Things?
no.
Come on.
Somebody just said Teddy Riley or Babyface. Yeah, that's you. You gotta answer that.
It's Babyface. The reason I say that is because, I mean, he could really go either way, but just all the work he did, not only for R&B, but for the pop side as well. Like, we were just talking about this. He did, like records for like people like Madonna and people like that beyond. It goes way beyond just R&B with him. So that's why I picked.
I'm
And
with
there's
you.
so many songs. Just so many.
I'm with you. I'm obsessed with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. This is my number one. Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. Boom. Then we go Babyface. Boom. Then we go Teddy Riley.
Right.
But I am for Babyface in the battle because I'm
Amazing.
just like I'm obsessed.
I think people are agreeing with us, so we'll take it.
It's all about grabbing the attention of the audience. Very, very true.
One of your fans earlier, before I forget, they asked you to shoot the video for Wifey at Home, or at least push the single. I wanted to make sure that you saw that,
I know I
if you
didn't see
consider it.
that. I want to. I was just saying in an interview the other day how the lyrics are so specific and it tells such a specific story. I want it to be right.
Right.
It will get done. I just don't know when, especially since we're like at home. But that's a special one. And I want to make sure that I deliver it right.
Dope.
Remember the Nas and Usher tour was nice.
I don't remember that one.
Did I go to that? I don't know if I went to that. I had another question for you. You just went away.
I didn't know this is like one of the first times I've ever been put on the spot in an interview. I've done like 500, 600 interviews in my life, and I've
Really?
never.
I got you.
What do you got? Throw some at me. I
Let me
love
see.
R&B, so.
Okay, so you say, how do you feel about JD? If Jagged Edge is up there for you, JD, how do you feel about him as a producer?
No, he's one of the greatest of all time as well because of his work with not just like Jagged Edge, but Mariah, Usher, obviously, and beyond. And that's not including what he's done in hip hop. I mean, that's a true legend right there. One of the best producers of his generation. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I mean,
I agree.
His work is amazing.
What about, okay, can you decide between Control, Janet Jackson, or Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson? Hey. Or do you know it enough to be able to choose?
I don't know it enough to choose.
Okay.
You have an opinion on that? Man. I haven't listened in a while, to be honest.
That's with anything she does, so I don't know. I seen that Teddy Riley I just made that up completely. I've seen that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis had liked the flyer on your page.
Yeah.
I lost it. I lost
They,
it. I am obsessed with Alexander O'Neal, Sherelle, the Human League. Like that's my number one
yeah,
pick.
yeah. I see this velvet rope. That's an amazing Jen. I like that one a lot.
Velvet Rope is big. Let me tell you, so I didn't understand Velvet Rope when I was younger, but I would come home every day and watch. It came on HBO, and so we recorded it. So I would watch it every day after school and like learn it and research it, dissect it. But I didn't
Yeah,
really understand the lyrics until I got older and I started to listen to it, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
All right, I got one more question for you,
Okay.
and then I gotta take off. But this
Okay.
is gonna be
Yeah,
the
we gotta
last
go
one.
see Michael Jordan.
This is
We
gonna be
gotta,
yeah.
we
This is
gotta
gonna be the one to end things right here.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson?
Bye. You can't
Oh,
do that.
I know. I did though.
Oh,
I'm going with Stevie. But it's I feel bad even saying that. But I'm going with Stevie.
no, yes, no. I can't.
No, I know you really can't. It's not fair.
I guess I gotta say Mike. Oh, that's so stupid. I don't know. I can't. Don't make me do this.
You can't live without either of them.
You
So
cannot live without either of them.
no, I know it is. Someone said apples and oranges. It definitely is. I'm just throwing it out there though because
I
making
mean,
you pick
good
between two of
question,
the
but it's a hard one. That
yeah.
might be a math problem. Shit.
All right, Netta. I thank you so much for your time. This has been fun. I appreciate the questions on the spot. That was
I
fun,
got you.
definitely. And we always got your back. I always look forward to supporting you. So just let us know what we can do, and we got you.
I truly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thank
We'll
you
talk
guys for
soon.
showing up. Appreciate you guys.
All right, Netta. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.